What's up, guys? It's the Hero Gamer here with yet another episode of Fallout Friday, playing some Fallout 4. Now, this isn't actually what I was going to do for this week's episode, but it happened to be going on while I was here in Diamond City, so I thought, why the hell not? As you can tell on the bottom left where my health is, every now and then, like just then, I start taking rads for no reason. The sky's a lovely green. I'll explain why once we get inside the schoolhouse. The reason behind that is these are radiation storms. They actually do happen in Fallout 4. I'm not sure how often they happen. I've been caught in a few of them. This is the first time, though, I was recording when I've actually been caught in one. So the best way to avoid it is to simply rest or sleep. Schoolhouse being the closest place I know of straight away where I can have a bit of a rest. We're also going to, since I am here, in Diamond City, go through the vendors here and see what we can in fact buy, see if I can upgrade any equipment I have with new ones. I'm starting to get a decent amount of caps in my pocket, so hopefully we can put some of those to good use in this week's episode. We'll come back when we get to the first vendor. So as you can see, lovely blue sky out and about now, and we're on our way to our first vendor who's going to sell us a swatter, which is essentially just a fancy word for a baseball bat. No, please walk in the middle of our conversation. All right then. How rude. So we're here have a look at what we can get. I don't generally use melee weapons, but it's good to have a couple, I find, just to make sure you're prepared for situations where you might need them. Now, as you can see, I've got a fair few caps, but I've also got some stuff I don't need. So while I might not necessarily buy anything, I am going to be selling quite a few things to the vendors along here. Okay, so as you can see, we are starting by selling stuff. I find it easier to sell things to how much they've got, then go see if I want to buy anything they have, or just end the transaction right there. Okay, so for those of you that haven't been to Diamond City, you can go there fairly early in the game. I went there, I have no idea how many hours I was in before I actually made my way down there. I try and do little side quests as I make my way to main plot points rather. Um, so I do get distracted a fair bit by things, just like I do in my real life, getting constantly distracted by things. So Diamond City is a great place. It's got so many different stores you can buy things from. So you've got the melee weapons here. You've also got like junk supplies, I suppose, for crafting and building things in your settlement, as well as there's a doctor, there's clothes. We'll be having a look at all these throughout this video, don't worry about that. One of the useful things he has here, is I just got a couple, was baseball grenades. I really like these, and you can actually make these yourself. I, again, like melee weapons, don't use a whole lot of grenades or Molotovs or anything like that. Not because I don't like them, but because I find the guns are a bit more reliable. That's really the only reason I do use guns instead, is I feel I have a bit more control over them. I can do it from far away. But definitely, I like being prepared. Like a Boy Scout, always be prepared. So we're going to go to the next vendor now, and we'll join you when we get there. And as you can see, the next store is weaponry, so we're going to go straight into it. Hopefully he's got some things I like to buy. I've bought quite a few things from him in the past, as I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick that up. I've actually got a plane going over, but I can't stop recording at this point. So I've bought a few things from him, including a skeletal frame. I say skeletal, but whatever floats your boat. For more power armor. So I've now got quite a few of those over in Sanctuary Hills. As I accumulate more and more power armor pieces, putting them on different frames. So I've got lots of options when it comes to power armor. Okay, so again, just going through the different things. I was talking before about having melee weapons with you at all times. The curved ripper, I have not been I haven't used it once. In fact, I think I've used one of my melee weapons once in the whole game, and I think that's only because I wanted to know what it would do. Um, so I may end up selling the curved ripper. The same thing, by the way, goes for explosives. There's the stinger. I made the stinger. I like it. It's a baseball bat with razor blades on it. What's not to like? Um, but when it comes to explosives, the main ones I keep are Molotovs because they've got the burning damage and fragmentation grenades. So I keep mainly those, and I do tend to sell others if I'm in need of extra caps or anything like that. But one of the things I like to do, and I also do this with um, the drugs in particular, like Jet, Psycho, Mentats, and things like that, is I keep about four or five, so I've always got some with me, and then I'll sell the rest. Because it's rare I would need more than four or five of a particular thing, so I'll move the rest on and just keep that amount because it's easier that way. Another thing I love to do is the purified water. I get so much of this. The way I've got my settlements set up and the connections between them, I get so many purified waters, and I've now got stalls in Sanctuary Hills, so I get bottle caps, and it. I find that's the best way to do things because you continue to earn caps and get things like water and food at all your settlements once they're connected. Once you've got the supply routes between them and it saves you buying things like the water. I'm also constantly getting flares, which I've never used the flare gun at all either, so I'm not sure if I ever will on that. And we're going to go to the next vendor, and I'll continue this when we get there. So now we're at the Surplus Supply Center. I have to say that very carefully. I always mess up when I try and say that out loud. I always get it wrong. So as I was saying about setting up the supply routes and things like that, it always lets you get things from the other settlements. So if one's growing a lot of food, you get that food or your other settlements, and that can always be useful. Especially if you like to cook things, but you don't want to go around to all the different settlements to make sure you've got the ingredients. You have your supply routes lined up, um, and it sort of sets it all. For example, all my supply routes run through Sanctuary Hills, so everything is connected to Sanctuary Hills because that's where I spend most of my time when I'm not out and about in the Commonwealth. So we're going through. I actually find myself, by the way, when it comes to buying things from stores, that I seem to buy more things from surplus supply stores. There we go, saying it slowly yet again, than anywhere else because it's often things that while you can find it, while you're out and about in the Commonwealth, there might be something you really want to build before you head to the next part you wanted to get to, and as I said, I've got stores in Sanctuary Hills. One of them is the surplus supply store. So it's quite easy for me to just go over there and buy things. Say adhesive, in particular, comes in very useful. I can tell you now when you're trying to mod your weapons and things like that. Um, so I'm always, buying, not always, but more often than not, I'm buying things from a surplus store than I am a gun store or an armory store because look at that. I have no idea what that is. It's just looks like an eyebot maybe floating in the basement of a basement. But back to what I was saying about buying things from a surplus store instead of a weaponry or an armory store is purely just because you always run into enemies who have got guns. They've got armor, and sometimes you come across the legendaries who have the better guns, the better armor. So it's sort of, it's a bit of luck involved, I suppose you'd say, trying to find the right things. But my lockpicking, I can lockpick at Master. That was one of the first things I did when I got to a high enough level because there's always things around to lockpick where you can find things so you don't need to go and buy them out in the world. I actually want to get a couple more, and I could have got one earlier, but I want some more skeletal frames for power armor so I can have a few different full sets of power armor because you get the extra bonuses if it's a complete set of the same type and they're all painted the same and things like that. So I'll probably be saving up for those, and there's some weapons over in Good Neighbor that I might show you in another time, but that I probably might think about buying as well. Anyway, guys, that has been enough of shopping and talking about my settlements and what I buy and things of that nature for this week. Don't forget, as always, if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, don't forget the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Hairy Gamer. Head over there, like the page. You see new things each and every day. Hopefully that do make you laugh. As always, have a great weekend, whatever it is you are up to. Don't forget to join me on Monday for some Behind the Beard. Until then, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.